Oh yeah, I don't need you to pay me alimony, so can we agree on no property division instead? Seriously? That's really great. A happy divorce. I finished writing the divorce papers and handed them to my wife. I immediately began to pack up my belongings. My wife and brother were happily signing their marriage certificate. My in-laws were also looking at the papers and smiling. This might be the last happy memory of your life together, I thought to myself. With that, I left the house. My name is Mason, a 27-year-old office worker. Just a few days ago, I have decided to marry my girlfriend, Maya. I'm overjoyed to marry my sweet and funny girlfriend, but there was one problem: my brother. My brother is a very troublesome person for me. He is 3 years older than me. He has always been very handsome and popular among girls. When I was small, I always admired my brother, who was as handsome as an actor. He never did anything that I would consider troublesome like he does now, but when I was in 8th grade or so, my impression of my brother changed drastically. It all started when he stole my girlfriend. He seduced my girlfriend, whom I brought home, and took her from me. I was extremely sad when that happened. Then, my brother said, "I'm sorry, but she's the one who approached me." At first, I believed my brother and forgave him, but when I became a high school student and had a girlfriend again, he had the audacity to take her away from me too. The second time was not negligence, but intentional, so I was very careful not to talk about my girlfriend in front of my brother. However, when I was a college student, I was unlucky. When I brought my girlfriend home, I ran into my brother. My brother was living alone at the time, and yet happened to be back at home. My brother asked my girlfriend, "Are you from the same college?" And she had answered yes, truthfully. A little while later, she called me and said, "I'm sorry, I'm going to date your brother," and broke up with me. He must have waited for her at the university and lured my girlfriend into the relationship or something like that. I wondered why he would go that far to take what was his brother's, and I despised him with all my heart. To top it all off, my brother said to me, "It's your fault for getting your girlfriend stolen." I could no longer fix this relationship. That's what I thought. That's why I was really careful until my marriage was finalized with my current girlfriend. I had to make sure that my brother would not find out, so I didn't tell my parents that I had a girlfriend either. I didn't tell any of my local friends who might be related to my brother. That's how strictly I kept the security level up. And finally, I was going to get married. Her parents were very nice people. "We are so happy to have a man who will marry Maya, and you're such a handsome guy too." They were friendly and praised me like that, so I thought I would be able to get along well with them. By the way, May's parents run a food company, although not that big. Maya is also working there and will eventually take over the company as the next president, and her parents asked me for a favor. "Mason, you've been working as an accountant all your life, haven't you?" "Yes, I have." "I was wondering if you would be interested in working for us as an accountant." "What?" "That would certainly be a great help. My wife has been doing it while searching on the internet, but it would be nice to have someone who specializes in it." "Okay." I'm not particularly attached to my current company, so I decided to help her family's company instead. Her parents were very happy. Maya thanked me too. I was a little excited to think that in the future we would run the company together, but the most difficult enemy always comes last. That is having both our families meet each other. Maya had already greeted my parents in advance when my brother was away. However, I could not avoid my brother on this occasion since I couldn't just leave one person out of it. On the day of the event, my brother appeared in a flashy suit as if he was the star of the show. Then he immediately went into stealing mode. "Nice to meet you. I'm Noah. I'm a little surprised that Mason is marrying such a beautiful woman." No, I'm not beautiful. You are a very good-looking man yourself, Noah." Thanks, Maya. You're a beautiful and wonderful person, aren't you?" My brother was in full force right from the start. When he learned that her family owned a company, his eyes lit up like emeralds. "Wow, so you were the president of the company then?" he said to Maya's father. "Well, yes. That's so cool. Your wife has the elegance of a president's wife too." My brother began to flatter not only Maya, but also her parents. "The next president's husband is going to be you, Mason, so you'll have to work hard. If you don't step up your game, she'll lose interest in you." Her parents and girlfriend widened their eyes at my brother's comment and looked at me. "Oops, I'm sorry. I guess you haven't told them yet that you can't do your job at all." Obviously, it was on purpose. It was probably to make her parents leave with a bad impression of me, but I had certainly been making a lot of mistakes at work lately. Since I don't live with her yet, I had to keep the details of my work secret. I knew it. My brother is always causing me trouble. When I was feeling down, my parents came to my rescue. Mason is a hard worker, and that's his strength. I wonder when Noah will get married. He's always going out and playing around. I really worry about him all the time. Hey Mom, you don't have to say things that's unnecessary right now. Mason always helps me with work around the house. I'm sure that he will be a good husband who will take good care of his wife. My parents-in-law nodded and smiled at my parents' words. My brother glared at me in frustration. I really don't think I will ever understand him. After the wedding was over, I started living with my wife. We lived near my parents-in-law's house. It was close to work, and most places were within walking distance. As promised, I started working as an accountant at my parents-in-law's company. I'm so grateful to be released from the tedious accounting work. Thank you, Mason. No worries. From now on, you can leave it to me. However, the account books that my mother-in-law had prepared were mostly incorrect, and I had to go back and redo them. This was quite a painstaking task. I worked frantically. I didn't realize it until later that my wife is doing whatever she wants at this company. She had breakfast with me in the morning, but sometimes she would come to work around 11 a.m. for some reason. Sometimes she would just wander off during the workday, and my parents-in-law tolerated it. Shouldn't you be telling her about it? I said to my father-in-law. Oh, no, it's okay. It's better to let her be like that. He didn't seem to think it was a problem. I gradually began to feel uneasy about my in-laws. There were a lot of mistakes in the books, and some parts were unclear. I would report them to my father-in-law, who is the president of the company, and he would say, "Oh, you can just make it up so the numbers align in the end." I questioned the need to do the accounting. Now I understood how my mother-in-law had been getting away with her incorrect accounting. I was convinced that my mother-in-law had been doing everything just fine until now. I tried several times to talk to my father-in-law about the problems in their accounting, but he would treat me lightly and would not give me a chance to talk to him. I was wondering what to do. I went to work one day and realized I had left something at home and rushed back. There, I found a pair of men's shoes on my doorstep that were not mine. Could it be an affair? I opened the door to the living room. Then, my wife and brother were talking happily. Them talking was not enough to treat as evidence of an affair. I had work to do, so I went back to my office right away. A few hours later, my wife came to work like nothing had happened. I'm sure that my wife has always been meeting with my brother when she was not in the office. Oh yeah, I don't need you to pay me alimony, so can we agree on no property division instead? Seriously? That's really great! A happy divorce! I finished writing the divorce papers and handed them to my wife. I immediately began to pack up my belongings. My wife and brother were happily signing their marriage certificate. My in-laws were also looking at the papers and smiling. This might be the last happy memory of your life together, I thought to myself. With that, I left the house. My name is Mason, a 27-year-old office worker. Just a few days ago, I've decided to marry my girlfriend, Maya. Well, the results of that is this unbelievable number of infidelities. I showed my wife the photo evidence and questioned her. Why are you having an affair with my brother? My wife was surprised to see the pictures, but answered, Oh, did you find out? Well, that's what it is. I was more attracted to Noah than to you. Okay, let's get a divorce then. I was just thinking of leaving you too. Yes, that's right. Let's ask Noah to bring the divorce papers. My wife then contacted my brother. Tens of minutes later, my brother came with a grin on his face. He even brought May's parents. I've brought the marriage certificate too. Your parents agreed to be the witnesses. Oh, well, that's very kind of you. That's because Noah asked me to do it. He has better looks and personality than this guy, who is so nitpicky about every little thing. My in-laws disliked me already because I pestered them about the company's accounting. My father-in-law was obviously annoyed by me, and my mother-in-law was upset with me, saying, You make it sound like I failed to do the accounting. Well, we are anonymously in favor of Noah, so you can just leave now. Saying that, my wife signed the divorce papers. Then my brother and my mother-in-law filled it in as witnesses. Now, you can put your name here, and that's it. Okay. It's okay because I'm going to give you all hell after this. Oh yeah, I don't need you to pay me alimony, so can we agree on no property division instead? I suggested. My wife's face lit up and she was happy. Seriously? That's really great! A happy divorce! I finished writing the divorce papers and handed them to my wife. I immediately began to pack up my belongings. My wife and brother were happily signing their marriage certificate. My in-laws were also looking at the papers and smiling. This might be the last happy memory of your life together, I thought to myself. With that, I left the house. I left my luggage at my parents' house for the time being and decided to look for a room. My parents were upset when they heard my story and they decided to cut ties with my brother. I immediately decided to implement my plan. I sent proof of the affair to the homes of the women with whom my brother had had an affair with. Naturally, their husbands were furious. All at once, they demanded alimony from my brother. Panicked, my brother sought help from Maya, but as expected, Maya was also furious that he had other women besides her. She told him to pay the alimony himself. However, my ex-wife was also in trouble. Her parents' company went bankrupt because of poor management. You may be thinking, why all of a sudden? However, this was not out of the blue. I reorganized the books properly and saw that the company was in bad shape. My mother-in-law must have been ignorant of the situation and made the records so that there would be no negative balance. The company's money was going to be dried up soon, but because of her bookkeeping, my father-in-law didn't notice it. Well, I kept trying to talk to him about it, but he just told me to go along with it, which also makes it his fault. So both my parents-in-law and ex-wife lost all their income at once, and they ended up in a lot of debt. My ex-wife asked my brother for help, but he was in a mess. They ended up marrying each other with a lot of debt. After explaining the situation, my ex-wife tried to get back together with me, but I immediately rejected her and blocked her number. By the way, my brother asked my parents for help too, but they had already decided to cut ties with him, so they just told him to take care of it himself. I don't know what happened to my brother, Maya, and her family after that, but I guess they must be forced to live in poverty and spend their days paying off their debts. It serves them right. I had told the people who worked for the company that the company was in danger at an early stage. They were all distrustful of my parents-in-law, who spoiled their daughter so much that when they learned that the company was in danger, they all immediately started looking for new jobs. I was glad to hear that they all found new places to work. And as for me, I built a new house with my parents. I sold my parents' house because my brother would probably storm in one day. Thanks to my decision to leave the property undivided, I had all the savings I had from marriage and was able to use it for the new house. I am now living happily with my parents in a newly built, spacious house. I also found a new job. I am enjoying my peaceful life and working happily. This time, it was disappointing, but now that I am completely cut off from my brother and my cheating ex-wife, I think I will be able to have a relationship without being interfered next time. Thank you for watching to the end. How did you like the story? Please subscribe to our channel. See you next time.